So hi everyone, it's the Arctic Rider here, and today I'm going to talk about how do you plan a charity motorbike ride. Now, over the last 8 years, I've raised over £8,000 for charities doing various different rides, and I just want to share some of my experiences on how you make a success and raise money for charities that are close to your heart. So there's some really interesting stories out there of people who've raised money for charity. There's Teapot One, Bruce Smart, for those of you who know him, who rode around the world on his Gixxer and raised a phenomenal amount of money for charity. There's the Kilted Biker, a guy here in the UK who decided to ride his motorbike for an entire year, just wearing his kilt and his crash helmet, of course. And there's so many other great examples of people who've raised money for charity. And if you're thinking about it, then use this video, hopefully give you some tips and tricks of what I've done to be successful and raise some much needed funds for those great charities out there. Now, the first thing that you need to think about is whether you want to do a solo ride or an organised ride. There are some absolutely great pre-organised rides out there that you can use as your kind of fundraising tool to get money for the charity that you want to. Some that come to mind is the Royal British Legions 1000 ride in association with the Iron Butt. There's Easter egg runs, there's Santa runs, there's loads of different things that you can do. So really just have a look out there. If you don't want to be organising your own event, go and see what pre-organised events are out there that you can go along to and raise some funds for charities that you'd like to. So if you're deciding to do a solo ride, there's a few things that you want to think about straight away. So one of the most important things is the cause that you're raising money for. This is really important, and my advice would always be to do it for something that really means a lot to you. So for me, I've raised money for two charities that mean a great deal to me. The first one is Cerebra, who are a brain injury charity who've helped my little brother, and the second one is Tiny Lives Trust, who supports sick and premature babies here in the northeast of England. And my little girl Isla was one of those babies, so that's why it means the most to me. And actually, it really gives you that motivation to go away and raise the money and do whatever you can to make a difference. If you're doing it for charity that isn't really close to your heart, I can almost guarantee that you won't be as motivated to really go out there and raise the money and do as much as you can to get the funds in. So the second thing you need to think about is the actual challenge that you're going to do. Now, my advice would be to try and do something different, unique, but which is also actually possible. So I've done two different types of rides. First of all, I've been to the Arctic Circle, riding 5,000 miles in just 3 weeks, and then also I've done an Iron Butt challenge. And then my next challenge is to go over to Alaska and ride one of the world's most dangerous roads in the Dalton Highway. But really, it's all about thinking what's unique and challenging for you. So, how much are you going to raise? The rule of thumb that I always use is to have 2 times the amount that you've actually cost to do the trip. So, if your trip's going to cost £500, including your accommodation, fuel, anything else you need to do towards the trip, then you should try and raise double that. And I'm always for making sure that all the funds go straight to the charity. So, I'll make sure that I've saved up enough money or got corporate sponsors on board to ensure that that can be possible. So, I've been lucky enough for some of my trips to get some commercial sponsors on board, from sportsbikeshop.com, Suzuki UK, Custom Lids, loads of other great companies who supported me. But I guess the first thing I would say, if you're looking to get corporate sponsors, you've got to be innovative and you've got to get out there in terms of contacting them. Now, the first time I was planning my first trip in 2011, I was a little bit naive. I used to send emails to kind of standard inboxes to try and get responses from big companies, and it really didn't happen. But I soon learned you've got to get to the individuals who are actually making the decisions. So you've got to use your network, you've got to use a little bit of nous, go on LinkedIn, try and find out who the marketing person for a company is, go on Companies House and find out who the owner is. Really try and expand that, because if you just send an email to an inbox for a motorcycle manufacturer, they're probably going to get so many of these requests. You really got to try and stand out. So it's all about making sure you get to the right person and then also having your story backed up already. And that could be in the form of a sponsorship portfolio, it could be in the form of a PR letter, anything which is really going to get your attention. Or if it's a local business, just go in and speak to them. Someone's much more likely to reply if you go into the shop and speak to the manager directly than sending a letter that they get through the post that they might not even read, or an email which just gets stuck in an inbox alongside all the other orders that they've got coming in. So really try and be personal, try and get in their face to make them understand how important this would be, and really put the time in. Just sending off a couple of emails probably won't get you as much back if you actually go out and try and meet people. And this is really important. Going to different events, so going to motorbike shows, going up to stands, meeting the owners of companies, meeting the people who are responsible for PR, selling your story and really getting yourself out there. That's the way you're going to get commercial sponsors, and they can make a massive difference, not only to the funds that you raise, but also the PR that you get from the network that they have. So I'm all about using social media to try and get the message out there, especially Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. And this can be massive in terms of finding like-minded people who want to follow your ride and also are going to donate. I've been really lucky that I found some amazing individual contributors to some of my fundraising. In 2014, And now a buddy of mine, Andy, who I'd never met before, donated £250 to my cause because he thought it was such a great ride. And it's just about finding those like-minded people on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube to really get yourself out there. And it's about interacting. I guess it's all the stuff that you normally get told in terms of how to raise the number of views on your channel, how to get more Twitter followers or Facebook likes. It's all about interacting with people, making sure they see you as a real person and really getting yourself out there. You can't just expect the money to pour in without you selling your story. So make sure you get photos up there, make sure you do video updates, and get really people interested and invested in your trip. And I've also found that in terms of reaching your network, a lot of people will be really interested, but actually when you go and do the ride, that's when you'll get the most donations. I did some data analysis on all the donations I've had over my 3 rides, and a huge percentage come in the few days build up to your actual leaving for your trip, and then when you're doing it. So that's really when you need to be hammering the social media, getting yourself out there, giving people 2-3 updates a day about how the preparation's going, anything that's going wrong, to really capture their imagination and get them involved in what you're doing. Now, in terms of sponsorship, there's a couple of different websites that you can use, and it's all about really making sure that people understand that all the money's going straight to the charity. Unfortunately, there's some people out there who claim they're raising money for charity and actually just put it in their own pocket. So use verified websites like justgiving.com, virginmoneygiving.com, or btgiving.com. Now, I'm a massive fan of virginmoneygiving.com, so they're actually a not-for-profit company. So they only charge the charities a small setup fee to get on there, and then all the money raised actually goes to the charities directly. Just Giving are another great company, but they actually do make a profit, so they actually charge charities an ongoing amount from what you donate. It's a tiny percentage, but if you want all the money to go to your charity, I'd really go for Virgin Money Giving. But I've just shown on the screen just a little comparison between the 3 main giving sites in the UK. And obviously, if you're outside the UK, make sure you check for other reputable ways to make sure donations can reach the charities directly. So a couple of key tips I would say is to really make sure that your heart's in it, and if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it, and set a date. That's the most important thing. When I was first thinking about my Arctic ride Alaska, it was actually over 2 years ago, and I just said, right, I'm going to go in the summer of 2018. The date was set, and when I started announcing it on social media, then you committed to doing it. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to do a charity ride, I'm not sure when I'm going to do it, it's just going to get put to the back of the line, the same as everything else is, because it takes a lot of work to organise. So putting that date in the diary is really important, and committing yourself and to other people that you're going to do it. And things happen, and sometimes things change that are unavoidable, but the majority of the time, if you've got it in the diary, it means you're going to do it. Right, so they're my top tips on doing your first charity motorbike challenge. I hope that's really helpful. If you need any more advice or need anything clarifying, please drop a comment below, and please make sure you share with me some of the great stuff you're doing. I've already supported some great people out there, including the RAF 100 guys. Give them a shout out and give them a donation. They're riding around the UK in 10 days, visiting 100 different RAF stations. Absolutely massive ask, and I have a load of people on their case trying to spend time with them as well, which sounds like an excellent challenge. But yeah, if you need any tips or other comments or questions that you've got, please put it in the comments below and I'll reply, and best of luck raising money for those charities that mean a lot to you.